Giants going down with a bunch of crazed dogs.
My camera. How about them Giants? How about them Giants? How about them Giants?
What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Giants Rush. We're here every single Monday at 7:30 to talk about our New York Giants. And as always, like clockwork, we're talking about another loss, but this one definitely holds a little bit more weight than normal. We're going to talk about DeVito. We're going to talk about Bowen. We're going to talk about what Dexter said after the absolute stomping. Just the Giants got curb stomped yesterday by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Baker Mayfield. I was at the game as normal, and at this point in the season, we like to say is, you know what? It's all about the food. And it's all about the people you hang out with, because having a good time going to MetLife Stadium, those times are gone. We're going on 12 or 14 years. Plenty to complain about. Not a whole lot of great things. I don't even think we can even do game balls this week, because there's not a game ball in the house to give out, right? So the whole studs to duds, it's just not even everyone's a dud. Right. We got Chris here. He's having a little technical issues, but he's trying to get back in. We got Sean. And of course, we're taking, I see Tobias. You're in the room. A couple of these guys are coming in late. Good to see you guys. We'll talk about Dabes and Shane. We'll even talk about what coaches you think are out there that might be able to replace what we have now. Are we firing these guys? There is a lot to talk about. Let's bring in Sean. What's up, buddy?
Going on, Craig? Looking good, man. Got a little special effects going, I see tonight. I like it.
I blurred it out a little bit. Zach, do me a favor, Zach, and hit the intro for Sean there.
And here we go.
Yeah, we got to make sure you enter the building the right way, right?
Absolutely.
And we could also say,
It's good to be the king.
Exactly. So, Chris is
going to
probably
be
pop
the
back.
king when you got. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Good to be the king when finish that statement.
I would say, listen, it's good to be the king now that you're blurred out. You're looking like a new look going on there. It is definitely good to be the king, my man. I like it. The spotlight is totally on you now. Like, that's perfect.
Yep, just making sure that I pop for you folks. So, Sean, I know Chris is trying to get back in. He's having some technical difficulties.
Right.
Giants, like I said, Giants basically get what's up, Coach. Love that Coach is in the room. One of my favorite Twitter guys, out there. Always have a blast hanging talking to Coach.
We were interacting.
Yeah, without a doubt. Honestly, one of my favorite guys on Twitter is Coach. And if you don't follow him, make sure you do. All right. Sean, until Chris gets in here, it's me and you. So the Giants, I don't know if it was necessary or not to release Jones. I understand all the reasons why. And what we heard from Dabes is we're starting Tommy to create a spark, right? Create a spark, which I was okay with, because the way I approached this was Locke got signed in the offseason to start if Jones was hurt. And you wanted to start the NFL season with an NFL quality quarterback, right? You didn't want to go in there with a guy from the practice squad. It was a new year. You got to start off on the right foot with your squad, with your team, right? You're the leader of the franchise. What do? You get a starting quality quarterback, and they go out and they sign Drew Lock, and then camp comes around. Sean, Tommy's having just as good as camp as Locke is. Like they're neck and neck. But you don't really think you're going to need him because Jones comes back. No need for the backup quarterback to start.
Right.
Then, so I don't have a problem with Tommy being the guy who gets to start because I think we all feel, hey, the guy won 3 games last year. We do think he runs the offense proficiently. But I keep coming back to this, Sean, and help me here. Help me out with this.
Yeah. Okay.
Dave says that Tommy's going to start because there's a spark. That game plan was the most sorry piece of crap I have ever seen. There was no spark at all. I mean, they barely threw the ball. Like they didn't have anything that would emphasize his talents. They didn't roll him out. They didn't do anything different. And in a game where you just basically turn the franchise upside down by releasing your starting quarterback, you brought nothing new to the table, and you come out with you create this crappy game plan, and that whole we're using Tommy for a spark. You didn't even let the guy have a chance to create a spark. You gave him no opportunity to make anything dynamic happen. That's just my take. Handing it to you. What do you think about DeVito yesterday in this game plan that he was dealt?
Yeah, listen, I don't have a problem with the game plan, and I don't want this to sound like this is the staff because I have my issues with him as well. But I don't think the game plan was a problem. I think Tommy DeVito was the problem early on. He held on to the ball too long. They got behind the sticks at times. He made on RPOs, he made the wrong reads on runs, ran into tacklers instead of running away from them. He was clearly rusty. I mean, he hadn't started a game in a year. So, I know neighbors came out and said, well, I wasn't getting the ball. But again, when you look at it, they didn't have the ball for a very long time in the half. And Tommy DeVito was just crap. He was absolutely in that first half. There's no two about it. Like he looked rusty and he looked bad. Again, the sacks were on him. He was holding the ball way too long. He just didn't look comfortable there. He looked rusty. Not making an excuse for him, but that spark, I also think there was a spark last year they had with DeVito. But to the point that I made several times yesterday and today is that with everything else going on, that team let the off-field stuff in.
Oh, Sean, your mic just cut out. Sean, we lost the last 15 seconds of what you said. Your mic totally cut out. Nope. Now,
can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now. We lost the last 15 seconds. What you were talking about, the off-field stuff, kind of rolling into the on-field stuff.
The on-field stuff, yeah. They let the off-field stuff, everything going on with Jones, impact the game on Sunday. It was on the players not being ready to play. You could tell, at least with some of the vets, you could see it. So, but again, DeVito just didn't do what he did. Now, will he come out and play better Thursday? We'll see, maybe, because he's got a game under his belt. He looked better in the second half. He looked more relaxed in the second half, but we'll see. Again, I just think DeVito came out and played rusty and played bad. Remind me of Jones against Minnesota in week 1.
Chris, what I was saying before you had some tech issues was I just thought Daves would come out just guns blazing, coming out with pulling everything out of the bag because, at the end of the day, Tommy's still not Jones, even though Jones is not the guy, right? And he's rusty, like Sean just recommended. What's up, Mark? What's up, K-Mac? What's up, Bill? See you guys pile in the room. I just thought the game plan was crap. Now, to Sean's point was he did hold the ball too long, right? He did run into some sacks that he probably could have got out of, right? But I still didn't think that it was schemed up right. Like for me, Chris, I would have thought is, you know what? For the first couple plays, roll him out, put him in space, let him get comfortable, let him throw a couple short outs, or some speed outs or some flares, right? Maybe get him comfortable by running a screen pass. Didn't see anything like that. It looked as boring and as vanilla and as cookie cutter as it could come in my estimation. What did you see when the game started on this game plan?
Yeah, I didn't have such a big problem with the game plan. And like Sean alluded to, it's his first game back. They're going to ease him into it. Very vanilla. I would have liked to have seen a little more screen passes. You do see DeVito holding on to the ball long, just like he did last year. You almost came into this game hoping that a year into the system, the game would have slowed down a little bit. The one thing I noticed with DeVito, he looks like the same DeVito we saw last year before Taylor came in to replace him. He just looks, and he's rusty. It's his first game, but I don't know if the game has slowed down for him. Maybe in the second half it got a little better, but they played more of a soft shell in that second half and they backed off. You saw stuff underneath start to open up. But, I think wishful thinking for all Giants fans. We thought that DeVito, another year in the system, maybe come out and they'll open things up. But that says a lot, too. If Daboll's not going to open it up, he wanted to keep everything close to the vest with DeVito, too, because he knows his, he is what he is. I would have liked to see more screen passes. Maybe the defense had something to do with that they didn't stick to the run as much as I would have liked in the beginning. But I don't know. I just think it was a culmination of everything. And I think once again, 150 yards given up on the ground. When the defense sees that the offense has a hard time scoring, I feel like a lot of the defense that takes the air out.
Yeah, and we'll get into the defense in a minute because, that's a whole nother ball game. But you nailed it. I said it. You just said it. Like, I was really looking for, to warm him up with some screen passes or to get him comfortable with, being back on the field in an NFL setting, and it just wasn't there, right? So I was not happy with. I don't think Slayton had a catch.
If I could say one more thing, Todd Bowles, aggressive head coach, former coordinator, he likes to blitz, maybe more misdirection, because when they see DeVito starting, they're gonna pin their ears back, which they did, and they were coming after him. So maybe some more misdirection, a little more creativity. But I'm not gonna knock the game plan because it is. There's only so much you're going to do to the kid his first game in after a year.
No, K-Mac, you must understand. I didn't say I like the D. I said, I'm going to talk about the D. I like the comment he made. I like the comment that Chris made about, hey, the defense normally supports the offense, and now we're in a different place where even the defense can't support itself. So we're going to get into that. Sean, so the offense is as anemic as it gets, and they're realistically just again, nothing's happened, right? Then you throw in the fact that, and I think I might have put this in the notes, and if I didn't, I hate to blindside you, but I feel like Kafka's just not involved, asleep at the wheel. We haven't heard anything out of Kafka, and I'm you know what? At some point, we're trying to rescue something here. Right? I don't care about the people who want to tank and all this other garbage. They got to win football games, save people, jobs and all that stuff. Because you don't win, people are getting fired. Yeah, you're getting a first round draft pick, but everybody else is getting fired. So I just thought if Dabes is, I'm sure he's a strong personality and maybe he's not listening, but they retained Kafka to be the assistant head coach. Does it all surprise you? There's just no innovation going on. It is just a lot of the same Daboll offense. This game plan to me felt like it should have been, let's pull out all the stops. Let's give Tommy, because it seems like a lot of excuses, right? We didn't want to do this. We didn't want to do that. What was the one quote I saw? We're the hardest practicing team in the NFL, Tommy said, or something like that. Or we practice. It just, I don't know, help me here. So I'm you're up against the wall and you waited to the goal line and run a trick play, which turned into a fumble.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Why is Kafka even here?
Well, I mean, you remember Mike Shula back in the day? Mike Shula was the offensive coordinator under Pat Shurmur. He doesn't talk, he doesn't come out, doesn't say anything.
But he was also a QB coach.
Yeah. So is Kafka.
Is Kafka working with these guys?
Yeah, I'm sure he's working with them, talking with them, but he's not he's not a media guy. He comes out, says some things here and there. There's video of him coming out and getting questions from the media, but listen, you lost Illumina earlier in the game too, and then you have to put Hubbard in. So you have those things to contend with, right? So there was some creativity that I saw. The problem is that it got blown up some of the times, right? Or the goal line. I thought that was a great call. I really did. If he doesn't fumble, nobody's talking about that play call, right?
No. Again, I'm cool that I wanted to see more.
The fourth down play where, and I think it was a bad spot on that play, to be honest with you, where the inside jet sweep to Wandale. I thought that was a good play call. There was some creativity there. You're limited with how you get when you see certain things going on. Like, I will say this, like Tampa, they were showing a lot of times on the broadcast, which I know you guys couldn't see being at the game, but Tampa had a lot of our guys locked up. Like they were dropping back and they had guys bottled up. So it was hard. So I I don't know, man. They ran a screen again and Tampa blew that up. It's like they knew it was coming. So I don't know if linemen are doing a bad job of disguising it. So you're like, well, that was shit. Because every time they try to run a screenplay, it goes to shit lately. So it's like, all right, are you going to scrap that too? Maybe that's what he's doing, right? Like, I don't know. Like, what kind of creativity are you looking for? Like, Flea Flicker 2 weeks ago, like, there's creative plays going on. They're just not executing. That's the problem. These guys aren't executing.
Oh, well, let's talk about too what you just mentioned about Illuminor. You know, Illuminor hops off the field in the first, I don't know, 10 minutes of the game, right? 15 minutes of the game. And we're right back to where right back to where we normally are, right?
Mm-hmm.
We went from ranked 32nd all the way to 21st. We're on the way to improving this offensive line. We put a lot of money into it. AT goes down again. It's like the third time out of 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then Illuminor goes down, right? And he's dinged up, and then Hubbard has to come in, and then all of a sudden the wheels fall off, right? Because all of a sudden JMS can't block, Hubbard's not good enough. Like, why does it feel like we're still dealing with this offensive line thing? Like AT's been out for 3 weeks now, you know, and when you lose an offensive lineman, Chris, just it almost felt like we're just going to play defense the rest of the game. Like, nothing worked after that. You know what I mean? Like, you just like, it was like, oh, like they couldn't they go, like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, when your back's against the wall, like the Giants are, you think there'd be like some kind of desperation mode, right? Like, maybe go with a fullback. You know what I mean? Put a fullback in the game and let him block, right? Or, you know, start pull guards. Or as Sean just alluded to, like, okay, that screen isn't working. Well, you can run a center screen, right?
Or even a little more 12 personnel. Put the 2 tight ends with Bellinger and Johnson, help out more rather than even one chip. And I don't know, but the game got out of hand in the second half. But I think when you have a guy like Hubbard who came off a practice squad with the 49ers and he's rolled in there against the Steelers, right there, it tells you, man, you're picking guys off the street. Neil is still, we don't even know what we have with him. Yeah. And then now with Illuminor hurt and Neil possibly hurt, now you're staring at a Zudu coming up on Thursday with Hubbard, which is scary. So now you have a guard, a Zudu is really a guard, coming back in playing tackles. So the depth, Tyree Phillips, maybe in a couple of weeks he'll be ready, but it's just the depth's an issue on the edge with Andrew Thomas, Illuminor. Both those guys go down, which one of them has. Now Illuminor might be out. I mean, now you're really grasping at straws.
Sean, I mean, the offense also just doesn't seem to work very well with the short passing routes and the personnel that we have. Like, is Daboll just not able to shift his mindset because he seems very like we don't seem to be making a lot of offensive adjustments? Does that all catch you at all? Like, we were literally getting curb stomped throughout this game, and when we get the ball back, and it felt like we did the same thing we did the series before, and you're kind of saying, come on, man, just pull something out here. Like just figure something out to create some space. Because here's the thing, they're still NFL players, and maybe they can't execute as well as Kansas City or Buffalo, but like, they're NFL players. I just feel like there's something wrong between what personnel we have and the offense that Dave wants to run. Like, it's not jiving. It's not working.
Yeah, he doesn't have the quarterback to do it. To make downfield, he goes guys deep again. He's had guys open deep all year long. Like, this is an offense. It's similar to San Francisco, what they've done. It's a style of the West Coast offense. You go short, and then you have the deep.
Lost you again. So so what happens is Sean, you go blank
Mike.
and then it goes to mute. So it must be a setting, either your setting on your mic. Maybe it's too loud and it's cutting it,
Maybe,
and so it's shutting you down. Sometimes if you turn it down, sometimes if you're too loud, the mic can't handle the incoming data, so it shuts you down.
All right, I just turned it down a little bit, so we'll see if that works.
Yeah.
But no, I was just saying, like, he's got guys open. He's just got quarterbacks that can't make throws or misses the throws. Like, I get it. Like, we keep going back about play call and Daboll's offense, but when you hear everybody talk about guys are open, guys are open, guys are open, like, it's not the play calling, it's the personnel, it's the one position. And nobody thought DeVito was going to be better than Jones. We were hoping, but he's still bad. So if you have a bad quarterback who holds on to the ball too long or doesn't see a guy open downfield, and then they did go into 12 personnel at some point, so now you have less guys out in the routes, so it's easier for Tampa to shut down those deeper routes. I know it's easy for people to want to bitch about Daboll and the play calling, but if you don't have a guy that can hit the receivers or see the open guys, it doesn't matter. Like, again, think back to all the games this season, how many deep throws are underthrown or overthrown or whatever it was. Like, they're there. The plays are there. We just don't have that guy to execute it. So again, I'm not saying Daboll should stay. I have my thoughts, but I don't think it's his play calling. I don't think it's the offense. I just think we don't have the important position that matters with that offense to have the things done. And again, I think the players let the Jones distractions this week impact what they were doing this week, because you could tell by the comments they made afterwards. So I don't think everybody's heads was in it. It's hard to run a good offense when your heads aren't into it.
I like that. It's a good point. Well, Chris, let's talk about something that to me is near and dear, and that's tackling. This defense for the first half of the year was the bright spot, right? They were leading the league in sacks, and they looked like, hey, this defense has some steam, right? This is an all-time low for the tackling. I mean, like they just, I'm sure it has to do with college football not teaching these guys, or the defensive coordinator is not, in camp is not like, implementing how important it is to tackle. But what's your thoughts on what you saw yesterday? Because I have never, I mean, the New York Giants have always been known for big, bold, brash defense, right? And we've always had hitters and guys that tackled well. Like, the tackling is just bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's at the point where, like, it is flat out an embarrassment to watch them play.
At the beginning of the season, you chalk it up to the Players Association and all the new rules about the, how many times you could have go full pads in training camp. And then you always see that first month, like we always talk about it, these guys are finally tackling, and they need that whole month just to get used to tackling again. But here we are into week 11, and it's an issue still, and there's no excuses. I mean, you see Darius Mousseau, a rookie, bad miss on, I think it was Irving or White, and then he took it, Irving White, I think he's the one that took it, 35, 40 yards. But, we see it every week. Tackling's been an issue with this team. I mean, part of the reason why they give up 150 yards a game. I don't have any answers. We're not there at practice. Obviously, they're not taking guys to the ground. They're wrapping up, I guess, in training camp. I don't know, if they do the thud. I don't know if that's even they do that now in when you're halfway through the season. I don't even know. Do you guys know, like, what exactly tackling, other than drills, what exactly are they doing in practice? Probably,
well, I know
it's not like training camp,
No, and I know they make a really big thing about not going to the ground.
Right.
Like, I know that all the research, says that players get hurt when you take other players to the ground. So when you're in practice, it is a lot of times it's a thud, and thud isn't really even thud. You know what I mean? It's just like a tap. You know what I mean? So
my solution would be in training camp to, if they do cut down a preseason game, or add another joint practice, because the joint practice is, it's like real game situation. I feel like you need more of those. You need more training camp scrimmages with other, joint practice with another team. because you're not going to, once again, you're not going full go in training camp, which I get, but in a controlled, joint practice like they did with the Lions and Jets, I thought they went pretty well. But once again, here we are, week 11, and tackling's still an issue. So, like to Sean's point, maybe it is a personnel issue.
So, all right, let's examine that for a second, Sean.
Yeah.
The defense, as I mentioned, was the shining star early in the year, right? With the push we were getting, and now we're in week 11, right? We're in week 11.
Yeah, well, it's week 12 now. Yeah,
coming 12.
Yeah, exactly. Just completed week 11, and what's haunting me now that I'm sure it's crossed our minds, but no one's really talked about it. And now I'm facing something, which is a comment that when Hard Knocks, the very first issue of Hard Knocks came out, they started off with the first defensive meeting, and Bowen was in the meeting, running the meeting, and said, we're going to rush the passer, right? Yeah. We're going to get there with 4 down guys. We're going to rush the passer. And we're going to, and it was, of course, it's about Dex, right? And he mentioned a couple guys, that were part of the plan that aren't even on the team anymore. They're not even on the roster anymore. And at the time, we just were like, man, this guy's going to get after it, going to get after it. And in the beginning of the year, he did. And now, as we've gotten into week 11, I feel, and tell me what you feel, like this defense doesn't work for our personnel at all. While it did make a guy like Dexter pop in the beginning, right? And then, of course, people watch tape, right? So Dexter popped in the beginning. Right now, our most important players and the players that had their best season last year, I can tell you they was Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden, Tay Banks, Jason Pinnock, right? They all had really good defensive years last year, and they're at the point of like just being an abomination, right? What do we know? Okay, made tackles all over the field, left, right, laterally, right, all over the place, was always part of the play. McFadden was blitzing in the A zone, the A gap, pulling down 3-4, sacks last year, right? 5 sacks or more, making tackles. He had, between him and Okereke, was the best 2 tandems that they had in the last decade, right? They had over 250 tackles between them, right? Pinnock was coming off the safety blitz last season, getting sacks. Tay Banks had a great rookie year. This defense now does nothing. Like, we don't see McFadden making plays. We don't see Okereke yesterday, and I'm just saying from the tape, I've never seen Okereke look as bad as he did yesterday. He's just like running around in space. Yeah. There's a big time clip out there, K-Mac. There is. So, like, this? We all went in this saying Bowen was the guy. This is what he did in Tennessee, and now here I am being like, is Bowen the guy? Because Bowen feels like he's going. If Dabe stays, Bowen's getting fired. That's my opinion. Go ahead, Sean, run.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I think. So, number one, I mean, Aziz got hurt yesterday, and then Tibbs is coming back from injury. So we didn't really have pass rushers. So I'm not faulting that. When you lose your edge guys, or Tibbs isn't 100%, he was on the snap count, but had to play more. So it is what it is with that pass rush. But what I struggle with, and I've been saying this for weeks, our inside linebackers it's like they intentionally run into I can't tell you how many times McFadden just ran into a block and away from a guy. Okereke did the same thing. So I don't know if that's scheme. I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if it's their year one and they're struggling with this concept the way they struggled with Wings concept in the first year. But you can't have inside linebackers who don't have their heads up and run into blockers constantly. I've literally been watching every single week. Again, I know our D tackles have struggled when Dex is on the field or next to Dex, but our inside linebackers are atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. McFadden goes hard, but he runs right by the play. By the play.
Yep.
It's just not their IQ. They're like, Craig, Burns yesterday, granted, only one person knew this
There's
happened.
I know where you're going, and there's no excuse for it.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like our play, for whatever reason, I don't know if they're thinking and not playing athletic, but they're not seeing what's going on around them. It's awful. Inside linebacker play is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like it's amazing if you watch it, how many times you see them run into a block or just let the ball carrier go by them.
Which leads me to
crazy.
Which leads me to what you said. Like, this didn't happen last year, right? And I'm starting to like think like that they're playing like some kind of cutback, like where you see McFadden go in, blow it up, run into a block, expecting, you know, to get the cutback, and they're not there. Or like you said, like, you know, the whistle doesn't blow. The ball, Chris, how long was that ball on a turf field?
It seemed like it was a couple seconds. Now, you see Burns, you know, he didn't even realize the ball was there, it looked like, and then he kind of turned and he was shocked. So it was there. But we're the other guys. Yeah, I know. It was there for, it felt like it was 2 seconds, but maybe it was like a second. It was at least a second.
Yeah, but when the ball hit the ground, Burns was kicking it around at his feet. It took 5 seconds for Baker Mayfield to realize it was a live ball, to him to run from the backfield, because that's where he had handed the ball off, right? Yeah. To come up and dive on the ball. There's no situational awareness at all. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I watched Tay Banks yesterday. It literally looked like, hey, I'm going to run around in this spot, in this 20 yards, and let me know when the game's over. He was never, ever in the right spot. He was never close to the receiver. He was always 3 steps behind. He was either nothing. He was never around the ball.
Yeah, and the scary part is you came off a bye week, right? They played 2 weeks ago. You came off a bye week. You had plenty of time, and which begs the questions: is it falling on deaf ears when they're in the classroom? Yeah, and they're in the team meetings. Thank you. When they're in team meetings on the field, like, is it falling on deaf ears and they're zoning out? They're not. They don't care. Like, because that's the kind of stuff you're talking about with Banks. There's no excuse. There's no excuse just to be kind of twisting in the wind out there.
Defense did not play to the end of the whistle. The ball was on the ground for 5, 6, 7 seconds. Yeah. And no one saw it because they're not. That's the thing. And we can go right into Bowen, but like, you got to fire Bowen, because as much as we were like tired of Wink's shenanigans, he got the best out of McFadden. He got the best out of Thibodeau with his 11.5 sacks, right? He got the best out of Pinnock. Every one of our defenders except Dexter Lawrence has regressed. And you keep saying to yourself, like, to Sean's point was, why is McFadden just running into the block? Why is Okereke just running around in circles? Like, you know, like for like to kind of grab an angle or something. That guy went 40 yards down the field. Okereke could have tackled him twice, but he didn't. He just kept going, well, I'll let someone else tackle him. And it's got to be Bowen. It's got to be the scheme. It's got to be like this. You're on the bench if you can't tackle.
Here's the problem, though, Craig. What saved Wink last year, Wink had the same thing year one, and he had the same thing last year. What saved him last year was the turnovers they got. We're ranked higher. We're ranked when it comes to defense this season. We weren't bad ranked. We weren't ranked. Like, we're ranked above a lot of other good teams with winning records. The problem is he's not getting the turnovers, which I get it. I understand that's an issue. But and I'm not saying you, but let's not make it seem like Wink what saved Wink last year was the turnovers. They got a lot of turnovers last year, but their defense, how many times did they give up 3rd and longs?
Plus 14, Sean. We thought, plus 14 last year for a losing team. And now they're -6, haven't had an interception in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because we turn the ball over way too much and don't get the turnovers, but that's what saved Wink. So these guys are doing the same thing they did under Wink. It's just not hidden now because we're not getting the turnovers. It's the same damn thing. Other than Banks, and Banks is solely only because Banks is better at man. He can't play zone. He doesn't understand zone concepts. And for whatever reason, these guys can't understand a zone 2 a cover 2 concept. Like, Pinnock is the worst at it.
Angles.
He's absolutely he's terrible at it. Late read, like, they're just not understanding it. So if you can't play a cover 2, then all right, then you're gonna have to switch it.
Well, here's what it comes
down to.
I mean, I'm just gonna be blunt. You know, they're not afraid of losing their job. because, guys should be put on the bench if you can't play it. There's two concepts here. One is the concept that has been taught does not fit the personnel because, first of all, you should be able to play man in zone. Give me a fucking break. All right, yes, you can be better at one than the other. You can be better at one than the other, but you shouldn't have no idea how to play a zone defense as an NFL cornerback. Like Bradbury was more of a zone guy, and you couldn't have him play man, right? He was okay at playing man. Tay Banks is dismal. Just dismal. He's not anywhere near the ball to make a play. It's like he's just not there. And I'm only saying
he doesn't get his. Go ahead.
No. I'm saying that the issue is still the defensive coordinator. The D coordinator is either A, not teaching the scheme, not emphasizing the scheme, or C, if you cannot play it, you will sit on the bench. Pinnock shouldn't be playing then. Put Belton in. Or if McFadden can't do it, put the rookie in. If Tay Banks can't do it, find someone else. We just keep trotting out the same thing. I don't think they're afraid of losing their job. I don't think they're afraid of losing reps. And they think they're more important. I think they're all a bunch of individuals right now, right? Because Bobby Okereke ran that defense last year, and he ran it well.
They gave up a lot of yards last year in the running game, though, right? That was a problem.
Yeah. And think about it. We still have the same
in the red
issue.
zone.
And we have the same issue.
Red zone
we
issues.
Don't have any defensive.
And when the Giants today, when it came out that they score below 15 points a game, 14.8 points per game, which is absolutely amazing in 2024. That's what they're averaging. A part of me believes this defense is checking out as individuals, not as a team, not as a whole unit. I'm saying there's individuals on defense that are mentally checking out, in my opinion, and like you said, running in space, not wanting to dive into the tackle, maybe not want to make the extra effort, because maybe in the back of their minds, they feel like this coaching staff's going to be gone anyway. And with 6 games left.
The offense can't score points. Yesterday was the first day they give up 30 points all season. They're averaging giving up 22 points. That's enough to be a good defense to win in this NFL. And this is a great point that pointed up, which what I was going to say is with the tackling before, this defense is soft as hell. My God. There's no aggression. There's only a couple guys that come up and actually try to hit. And they're the smallest guys on the team. Drew Phillips is not afraid to come up and hit. Tyler Nubin is not afraid to come up and hit and make a tackle. They're friggin' soft. And I saw them was yesterday. It was ridiculous. Tacking up high, playing two-hand touch, basically. So what I'm pissed about, if you see this week and they come out again on Thursday, I want everybody gone after Thursday. Everybody gone, everybody fired, because we are the New York Giants. We don't play this type of defense or even offense. No physicality, inexcusable, absolutely inexcusable. And if you look at the tape as a coach, I don't care what Daboll said, because he's not going to come out and throw the players under the bus. If you looked at that tape and think this team wasn't soft and you don't make adjustments and they come out and play the same way, then I want everybody gone. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, I can't. I'm telling you, I sat in that stadium and I literally said, this is the most boring, one-dimensional, soft, uninteresting game I have seen maybe ever. There was not one guy where you're like, that guy is playing for his job.
And what's good? Yep.
Go ahead,
and I'll
Chris,
tell you what, if there was a couple games left, this coaching staff might be able to squeak it out and come back next year. But the fact you got 6 games left gives this enough time to keep spiraling, to keep getting worse. And that's the worst thing that Daboll has right now is 6 games left on the schedule. Because if he could have got away with 2 more games left and to get to the finish line, he might have saved his job. But with 6 left, and this is a trend, this is the pattern, to Sean's point, what's going to happen on Thursday, the trifecta. And what I mean by the trifecta is they got embarrassed yesterday, 30-7. Then you saw Saquon Barkley last night, and I agree with the move. But John Mara didn't agree with the move. That kept them up last night and ticked them off. And now you come back on Thanksgiving and get embarrassed against Cooper Rush and the Cowboys. That's the trifecta that, to Sean's point, maybe on a long week, guys do get fired.
So, all right, Chris, let me ask you this then. If for any reason, Dave's, and I can voice my opinion later, but if Dave's stays and Shane stays, somebody's got to go. So who goes? Does Bowen get fired if Dave stays? And does Kafka get fired if Dave stays?
I don't think Kafka's last year anyway, so I think he's going to be gone, moving on anyway. So it's a good question, but Kafka's going to be gone regardless.
Dave
even if
stays, then Bowen.
I don't know. Got to see how these last 6 games play out. It's hard to say. I think.
See, I don't think you and I have talked off record. You can't go through the season with 3-4 wins and expect no one to get fired.
Agreed. But once again, if the defense did play well in the last 6 games and they kept teams under 20 points and played hard, then you do maybe keep Bowen. But once again, with 6 games left, there's still enough. There's too much of the script yet to write for the rest of the season to make that decision right now. But I'll tell you what.
What do you want to happen?
Well, I want him to get a quarterback, but I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to be a Giants fan.
Just talk defense.
Yeah.
What do you want to happen here with this defense?
I want this defense to come together and look like they want to play and make and I don't understand. I know Dave's is protecting the players, but I want to see effort.
All right, I want to talk about address some of the stuff that's in the chat because you guys are throwing up a bunch of stuff. One, Tobias, Bill, and Vrabel. So one is it's numerous people are talking. Even Carl Banks has said it. Tynes has said it that Bill's never coming. Okay, like he's never coming because he wants to be the GM and the head coach, and that's not going to happen. We don't know for sure, but all indications that Bill is not coming.
Yeah, but does Mara get to a point? And I'm not even for that. But guys, let me ask you: does Mara get to a point where he just throws his hands up and he gives it to him and says, "Run, just do it all," even at his age?
Yes, sure. There is definitely 100%. Remember, the Giants had to reach out for, was it Ernie Accorsi to find them the right people, right? Or was it George?
George Young.
George Young, yeah, because George Young needed help. The Giants may need help. And people do it all the time. They look for, consultants to come in and find the right guy for the position. Because, like I said, I didn't really ever love Wink. I haven't loved any of our defensive coordinators since Spags, right? Mm-hmm. We just haven't found the right guy that wants to play New York Giants football. This is not New York Giants football defense. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. Even when we have good games and we say we didn't let up a lot of points, we still don't play New York Giants football. We don't have any turnovers, right? We don't have crazy, sacks from our defense ends, our linebackers, right? We're not playing Giants football. We have no identity at all, right? There's no identity, and they've taken all the power away. We have captains that are just, transparent people that just, they put a C on their chest, right?
And both captains are gone on offense. How crazy is that, right?
Yeah. So Sean, do you think, I know you like Bowen, and I know Bowen seemed like a good fit at the time, but I blame Bowen 1,000% for the lack of tackling, because you know what? If you're not afraid to lose your job, Sean, and you're not afraid that the rookie's going to take your spot, or if you're not afraid at all for your job security, and who cares if I put all my effort in or not? I'm getting paid.
Right.
So Bowen to me is an enormous disappointment right now, because he should not be letting this happen. We're on 4 games of them playing like crap. And we're all willing to give up more.
Yeah. Well, and I agree with Chris. We got to see what he does the rest of the year. If this effort comes out the rest of the year, then yes, he's got to go. If players come out better on Thursday, that's a different story. Because again, I think up until last couple weeks was playing good. The defense was they were playing well. It's not the style that we're used to, but they were doing a good enough job to win games and have a winning team. So I don't want to see that effort again. And if it's on Thursday, then yes, he absolutely 100% has to go. Absolutely has to go. Because you just can't.
Rob Salah's out there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Rob Salah.
All right.
Yeah. Listen, depending on who they hire.
Go ahead.
No, I was just okay. Well, we're gonna get to that, right? Talk about different head
Yeah.
coaching and other coaching
Yep.
opportunities. So
I'm gonna grab a couple of these chat stuff that's in here. Let's see. 3rd and 11 on the Bucs 5. We just sent 4 and dropped 7, and we agreed. Look, hey, look. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. 3rd and 11 on the Bucs 5. We send 4. We drop 7, and we haven't gotten home one time with that philosophy that we're going to rush 4 because we still don't have 4 major pass rushers. We have 2. Right? I mean, literally, like Tibbs is just coming off injury reserve, right? Being down for 4 weeks. He's hot and cold. I'm sure they're doubling down on Burns or they're making his life hard, and Dex. So going at it with 4 isn't good enough. So, Coach, it's a great point. And yeah, good chance, Coach, we get embarrassed on Thanksgiving. Was one in
I'll
here.
say this too.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I didn't see and I guess he was a little banged up, but I didn't see a normal Dex effort either. And I think he let him being friends with Jones impact him this week. Now, again, I know he had a little bit of a knee injury, which is why he didn't play as many snaps as he did. So maybe that impacted the effort, but I didn't see a normal Dex effort that we normally see out of him. So
Fair enough.
I need him to step it up too. If you
I
say you're
noticed
going
on
to
that
lead.
Sean, I noticed on that Baker run when he almost had him for the sack and then Baker got to the outside and ran for a few yards. Dex kind of pulled up, man. And, usually he'd be chasing him down. He kind of called off the dogs after he missed him for the sack, which was weird. You
Yeah.
don't see Dex doing that.
No, and again, I know I found out he had a little bit of a knee,
Okay.
but I do
Right.
think it's worth mentioning that, if we're going to call people out, we got to call everybody out, and the captain isn't absolved from that, in my opinion. So I want to see better from everybody. Go ahead. Sorry.
And JMS did not have a great game, but we're back to the issue is still the same, right? So, we invested in the offensive line. The guys that we have are good when they're intact, right? When you lose Illuminor and you lose AT, which we should just be accustomed to doing that by now, right? They're going to struggle. And then you start moving guys around. And listen, it's going to get worse if you have to play Makita or Ozudu, right? It's going to get worse. Hubbard, it's just going to get worse. It's going to go right back to where it was. And I will say to you, and I'll emphasize this, and I hope you guys hear me loud and clear. Over the first 6 games, Jones was on pace to get sacked 34 less times than last year. That's enormous. It's a huge win. And now here we are in the same spot, getting sacked 4, 5 times a game, 6 times a game, because we're shifting guys around. I'm not defending JMS. I just know JMS is a good player because Tracy was averaging 5.1 yards a carry before today, right? That's because the middle of the team was intact with Runyon and Van Roten. And then now we're moving bodies around. And that affects the run game. That affects how many times you get sacked. So, yes, so JMS is getting killed out there because, again, he's playing with guards he doesn't know. He's playing with guards that aren't Runyon and his normal the normal lineup, right, where you got guys out, right? So I'm not going to kill JMS. We didn't have a great game.
He also went against Vita Vea. Vita Vea makes a lot of sense. Vita Vea makes a lot of sense. I watched the game with a Bucs fan. He's like, yeah, Vita Vea makes a lot of centers look like that. So let's put some perspective on that as well.
There was one in here that I wanted to get was something about when players leave.
They do better. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of, I'm looking for it now. Zach, maybe you can find it for me. I'm just looking for it. There's a comment from someone that says, when the players leave the Giants, they go and succeed somewhere else. And I can't find it.
I got a thought on that too after you give yours, Craig.
Yeah. Zach, I don't know how far back it is, but it might have been from Raymond. But I will address this Raymond's comment. Do you think the Giants are still a lucrative job? I'm going to throw that one up there while you look at Zach. alluded to, do people still want to play and coach here? So remember, this is still New York,
Mhm.
right? It's got a lot of things baked into being New York, right? Is one, it's the biggest city in the country. When you win here, there's nothing like winning here. Two, when you turn something around here, you like whether it's Herb Brooks with the Rangers. Yeah, hold that one for me. Take it off for now. Yeah, hold that one for me. So Raymond, it's always going to be a lucrative job. It's going to pay really well, right? And people, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
No, Craig. You know what I was going to say? The bar has been set so low, so it's not like you're walking in here following up on a Vince Lombardi or a Parcells.
No.
The bar has been set so low, so just a
Right.
little bit of success that somebody could have will make a world of difference.
From a coaching perspective,
From a
Raymond,
coaching
great
perspective,
question,
any
but
coach.
I'll flip that same concept on its ear and tell you, no, free agents don't want to come here if it's going to be mangled and it's going to be upheaval and it's going to be guys quitting right now and we don't have a quarterback right now, right? Like right now, there is nothing I could be more passionate about is that Joe Shane needs to give his freaking ass and figure out how to fix this. Because if he goes into the season mailing it in, you know what mailing it in is? Whatever we do, we draft a quarterback and we'll see what happens. That's mailing it in. We're not good enough. Like this team needs to make massive, drastic moves to get better and stop listening to the fan base whine and cry about who to draft and don't give away my draft picks and wham. Like if he wants to keep his job, Ray, you got to go do something. They go, I want to play for that dude, right? I'm going there. Because that's what we don't have. So the head coach or the offense and defensive coordinator have to want to be here. Your GM's got to lead the way with good moves, and your coach has to go for it. We're stuck in this weird limbo right now. Go ahead, Zach, throw that up there for me. Why is every player we let go excel in other places? All right, just so you know, that is not accurate. I can give you a list of 50 players that have left the Giants and have sucked everywhere else. Okay. The issue that you're talking about, which is fine, it's a great question. Actually, two good questions, Ray, out of you, is right now very simple. Saquon Barkley was offered 2 contracts. He turned them down. All right. And the guy went excelled because he literally is running behind a top 5 offensive line. Almost his entire career, Ray, he has rushed behind either the 29th through the 32nd worst offensive line. So he's only succeeding because he went to a great team, right? Saquon Barkley is an awesome player off the field, on the field, our best player, made a mistake by not tagging him again or made a mistake by not giving him more money. But if they gave him more money, keep this in mind, the money that Barkley turned down twice, we used to sign Illuminor and we used to sign Runyon, and make the team better. As far as McKinney's concerned, McKinney was a great player and wanted $17 million a year for a safety. That is reserved for a playoff team, not for the worst team in football, right? He didn't give us a hometown discount. We didn't get $17 million he wanted. So he's doing everything. He succeeded here too. He's just succeeding on a better team. But both these guys, here's an example, Ray. Chris, give me 3 to 5 guys that left here and bombed. Did nothing.
I don't want to say bomb, but Odell had his best years with the Giants.
Yeah,
Odell had his best years.
Give me no.
That bomb, geez, off the top of my head. There we go.
You need like 4 linebackers. JPP, Jaquan Williams.
Well, I mean, you think JPP, he was at his end of his career. I want to say he bombed. I thought he played.
Okay, I don't want to say bomb, but
yeah,
he's saying that they excel everywhere else. Like JPP struggled. He lost, 2 fingers on
pedestrian. I'll give you a guy. Will Hernandez actually played better. Now it wasn't lights out, but he played better. All right, Flowers. He finally played guard. Right, he left.
Yeah, we're looking for players that didn't play well.
Right. I'm trying to. So it didn't play well.
Steve Smith, the receiver. He left here, went to Philly, bombed out.
Had the injury.
Yeah, Julius Peppers, Jaquan Williams.
Yeah.
Okay. You want more recent guys? Yeah, Bavaro. If you want to go as far back as that. How about what was the linebacker that went to Kennard, Feliciano? Like these guys, there's plenty of guys that leave the. Thanks, Jay. Plenty of guys that don't do well when they leave the Giants. We're just glaringly looking at two superstars, that I shouldn't say that because Julian Love is having a great year with playing with. Oh yeah, sure, Ray, no problem. Thanks for tuning in.
But
man.
see, I think like when you look at guys like a Hernandez, the systems have changed so many times here. We don't want to change another system, but the coaching turnover the last 4 years from Shermer to Judge, and now Shermer to Judge, and now to and obviously McAdoo, and now to Bowen. I mean, not to Bowen, to Daboll. God, I mean, these guys have been through systems and it changes. I mean, there needs to be some stability at some point, but unfortunately, this year they could be changing again. But I think that plays a part too. That why guys, they get a little bit more stability in other places too.
And we finally have a good O-line coach.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah, that's right.
Sean Dexter came out and said that they played soft. What was your thought about him speaking up and saying that? And then Malik came really close to throwing Dave's under the bus on the play calling. What's your opinion on what those two guys said?
Yeah, I like Dexter said it because I think Burns kind of said it too, and I think Illuminor said it as well about the soft. So they need to speak up. The players have to take accountability and hold other players accountable. So I like it. Listen, when Neighbor said he's a rookie, he also spotted off on Jones earlier in the year and threw Jones under the bus. So he's a rookie who's gonna have different things going on. So I don't make a big deal of what he said. I mean, people want to go after it because we know why. But again, he threw Jones under the bus earlier in the year. I'm open. You got to ask him. I don't know what's going on back there. So he's an impulsive rookie who's pissed at losing, and he's going to spot off at the head. So I don't know, but I got no problem with Dex saying they're soft. I got no problem with Burns saying they played like ass, and I have no problem with Illuminor saying it. I want more players that own it and say we were soft, go in this week and change it. More players need to speak up and be like, this is unacceptable. They got to do it. It's on them. It's on the players.
Chris, it's all over social media that, losing the locker room, guys, not happy with guys getting cut. And then of course, no one's losing play time. You know what I mean? They're not, the players aren't being held accountable. Nobody's getting benched for the bad play. I mean, Tay Banks, should not even wear a uniform right now. He's that bad. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. But there's no tough love going on here, Chris.
Well, he didn't, there's no depth. Right? I mean, was it when Daboll says he sees the film and he saw effort, and that's what he said today in the press conference? Is he making that up? Is he protecting himself? Because if he says there was give up, now it's indicting himself on a locker room that's throwing their hands up, and he's indicting himself by saying that the effort's not there, and now he's lost it. So it's interesting. It's hard to say when guys give up and when they don't give up. Is it they don't know what's the concepts, like Sean was saying? Do they not know where they're supposed to be? Or are they? Is there a lack of effort? So I think sometimes it is hard to see when you're watching a game and you're seeing guys run around. Is it a lack of effort? Maybe when they're running up to the pile and they don't want to stick their head in there. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. But is it part of the concepts? It looks like they're given a lack of effort. So I don't know.
Man. And that Okereke play, he was running full speed. He just was running around a guy. Right. He wasn't jogging. So that, if you look at it, he's going full speed. In his head, he may be like, well, what the hell is he doing? But he wasn't jogging or anything. It just didn't make sense what he was doing, but he was going full speed. So I don't know.
I don't know if you can see this on TV because what camera angles they give you.
Yeah.
There is I almost feel like I'm pretty low on the field, but I should film it and then break it down and then cut it up for the podcast. The biggest issue I see with the Giants, and this is not me cherry picking, this is a constant, is they are susceptible on 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, whatever number you want to make up, to the cutback. Because there's no one ever home, and there's no one willing to actually hit the strike zone and tackle the dude between the thighs and the stomach, right? I mean, what do they always tell you? Your waist doesn't move. Just go out and hit the strike. Go out there and hit that strike zone, hit him right in the waist, wrap it up. If you want to talk about Pete Carroll and the Hawk tackling and then roll like a gator, fine. They are susceptible. Every play that these teams are running is because they're seeing it on tape. They run stretch plays, and then they rip it back inside. And there's no one there, like literally no one there. And it's almost like watching you play Nerf football in the driveway or in the recess, right? And you're just making guys miss. And guys are just like waving at them. Like no one just goes up and sticks the living snot out of these guys. And it happens like 6 to 8 times a game. Like stretch it, cut it hard back inside, and everyone just is like, there's no one home. And they're just waving at them. The backs, at the end of the day, the backside defense and the backside corner should be there. If everyone went inside, if 9 people went inside, there should still be 2 or 3 people left at home. Nobody. So again, I'm sorry, I don't mean to beat on him, but I just don't think Bowen excites the players. I don't think Bowen creates some type of dog mentality. Because all our dogs are like you said, they're not excited to be there, or they don't understand the concepts. So there's no teaching going on. Like I'm just saying, the defense is really bad right now. So well, let me ask you guys this. Let's keep moving through. Chris, do you want Dabes and Shane fired? And I know the easy answer would be is you want to see what they do the last 6 games. You know in your heart they're losing at least 4 of these games.
Probably.
So my
They'll be lucky to win 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Does Dave and Shane get fired at the end of the year? If they get fired, is there, is it because they didn't win any more games?
Right.
Or it doesn't matter that their fate is sealed?
Listen, you got DeVito as the quarterback. You got Locke as the backup. So I think you just have to throw the wins out the window. If they win 1 or 2 games, I think that's great. That's gravy. But I think if you're going to be losing 30-7, 41-10, that's going to seal their fate. And it's going to be obvious that the team is packed it in.
Sean, same thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this week will tell me what they have. If you can tell the team quit, he's not gonna stand for that. So I think they will go if they play close games and they're competitive. And again, unless they sold Mara on, look, we need to lose to get a quarterback. But I think the fan outrage, more to the fan outrage, he always does.
Yeah, and I don't think Mara would ever. You're talking about the quote of him, "I can't sleep at night thinking Saquon's
I
gone."
don't think he would go for that.
This is very upset. Fortunately, we have to clean house. No way out under this Shane regime. So I don't quite subscribe to that, K-Mac, but I am getting closer to it because of a few reasons. I mean, I know a lot of fans want to be reactionary. I get it. I'm usually reactionary for about 8 or 9 hours on Sunday. But my big thing is this, and Chris, I'll ask you next. I said this earlier in the show, when your back's against the wall, you kind of pull out all the stops, right? If you're getting your ass kicked, you stick your thumb in the eye socket of the guy kicking your ass, right? Like you do what it takes to win or survive. Like you don't play it safe. You don't try to convince people this is the plan. Mm-hmm. When you're getting your ass kicked, it's literally every man for himself. Mm-hmm. I don't get this opinion from Shane. Like, I know he's disappointed. And I'm sure he's pretty calm and cool, but like, there was no trades at the deadline. Didn't pick up any more picks, right? You just said it so perfectly 3-4 minutes ago. There's no depth. He's not signing any corners. We didn't have kickers in the beginning of the year. And I do like Shane. I think he could be a good GM. But there's right now and again, we know in your heart, you're like, it doesn't make any sense to do anything. But if he doesn't do anything, doesn't that cry negligence?
Doesn't do anything by the trading deadline and up to. Does he want to get
the end of the year a move? Not get rid of your quarterback.
No,
just bring in some bodies, figure something out. Just show that you give a shit.
Well, listen, they got a practice squad with 16 guys, right? They could move guys up from the practice squad and see what they can do. So, like, why aren't we seeing Dante Miller? Why isn't he? I got two problems with the coaching staff. Every fan last year knew Azudu wasn't a tackle. We saw that multiple times, and I like what Priscilla's done. But how do we, the regular fan, know that Azudu is not a tackle? Yet we trust Priscilla, and I think he's done a great job. And they still put him at left tackle. So that's the mind-boggling stuff I don't understand. And there you have a Dante Miller who's turbo. So we saw flashes of his speed in preseason. Why is he up from the practice squad? Why? I don't understand that. Bring him up. They're 2-9. Bring him up by Thursday.
I love it. That's exactly what I'm looking for, because I'm the same thing. Like we went to the playoffs throwing the ball to Hodgins, but we won't even target him. Like why isn't Bellinger in the freaking game? Like, we've got nothing to lose. This is where I'm going, guys.
Yeah.
Sean, there is a stubbornness to both of them that is, to me, is alarming. Because
hey, Craig, if I could bring one more thing, and this is last year,
Craig.
the punt return duties. We were screaming, "Who's the punt returner? Who's the punt returner?" Everybody goes down. You grab Gunner. That was like unbelievable. You found him on the street. But there was another thing screaming, all last season for Eric Reyes catching punts. That's not his thing.
No, and I'm Chris, and I'm like this. Like, again, I'll say it again. When your back's against the wall, you do whatever it takes to win, not to lose the fan base and not to lose the locker room. You just shelved Daniel Bellinger. And no offense, Sean, I don't give a crap anymore about the whole whether he can block or he's not. Theo's dropping every fourth ball thrown to him. I mean, like, it's just, I don't want to hear he's young. I don't want to, like, it's time to grow up. Like, things just have to be done. Hey, Mark, glad you're here. So, like, put Hodgins in the game, throw the ball to Hyatt, put Bellinger in the game, and see if it works.
Even Manhurts, good blocker, makes a couple catches, actually plays well.
Yes, because put Turbo in. Like, I'm so sick and tired of everybody, like, saying, it's the coaches. The players gotta freaking play. And when the players don't play, you put someone else in that does.
Let me ask
guys like Bellinger, Hodgins, Hyatt, Turbo.
Simmons. I want to see Simmons in more. On defense. Put him on the inside linebacker.
Yeah.
Yep. Give me more Muasau. Absolutely.
And Simmons is so, we've said it before, I'm not a Simmons guy. I don't like him. But guess what? He's so fast. Why not put him in? Why not package him in for an outside and let him blitz?
Yep. I agree. I want to see him more.
I mean, we talked about NASCAR. Put Simmons and Tibbs and Burns on the field at the same time. Like, I just don't see how
Chapman in more. Where's Chapman been? Chapman did well. He peaked early on, and then you don't see much of him at all. Like, get him in more. Especially now you're 2-9.
There's a list of them that have been benched. I don't get it.
Yeah.
There's this. I'm sorry. No one's going to convince me even any different than, like, Theo's has done a nice job as a rookie, but we don't know if Bellinger would do anything better because he doesn't even get a snap. You know what I mean? He doesn't get any balls thrown. I think he's got 4 catches all year. Hodgins took the team to the playoffs, but they won't throw him the ball because he's too slow or all this bullshit that people make up. Like, okay, but we're 2-9, so what we're doing is not working.
Right.
Do you guys think if the Giants get blown out Thursday on national TV on Thanksgiving, this will be enough where on Friday or Saturday there could be a coaching change?
I don't think Mara fires people in season, but we knew it would happen with McAdoo, right?
McAdoo,
yeah.
And the only reason why I say that because if he knows if he's had enough and he's going to do it, it does get the process started a little earlier.
Well, there's a rumor out there that they're already looking into some front office personnel type people. So if there's any truth to that, then a bad showing on Thanksgiving on national TV yet again, you're going to have we got ripped apart. Rex Ryan, Alex Smith ripped us apart, like every ripping us apart in the national media. If we know nothing about Mara, we know that optics matter to him and being embarrassed matters to him.
And by the
So
way, we've been embarrassed now for quite some time.
Mhm.
So someone's got to do something, right? I mean, like, just all right. So let's just segue and let's put a bow on the show and say, Sean, there are some personnel people out there. I know you guys on Twitter were talking about matches. I don't care about matches, whether they match or they don't match. Who do you, if Daboll gets fired or Shane gets fired, who do you want to step in?
yeah, so I want Mike Vrabel as the head coach. I want a defensive guy again. I want to get physical. I want that identity. He's a proven head coach that won in Tennessee. Coaches who have won before and get second chances do better. I don't want another first year guy. Give me, or you can give me Aaron Glenn out of Detroit. And then GMs, give me Ray Agnew out of Detroit. I want somebody in that Detroit front office because, again, they play tough, physical football, and that's what I want. They draft well. So those are the guys I'm looking at. Anybody from Detroit or Mike Vrabel.
Chris, thoughts? Who you want? Or
I'll agree with Sean. I mean, I think I'm on board with Vrabel. I think that'd be great to have a defensive mind run the team as long as the offensive coordinator is the right guy as well that he brings in. So I think that needs to be expressed when they sit down. If they sat down with Mara and, hey, who's going to be your OC? I think Vrabel needs to sell who he wants to bring in and his concept and what he wants to do. And as a general manager, like Reggie McKenzie from the Dolphins, he's a player personnel director. They've done pretty well in the draft and with player moves. Another guy, which I don't know how this would fly, Matt Groh. That's actually Mike Groh's brother, who's the receiver coach for the Giants, and Al Groh's son. He's director player personnel with the Patriots. So
Nope.
I don't know, just a couple names I kind of came across.
A lot of guys throwing stuff out there. Like, one, not touching Flores after he sued the Giants. That's not going to happen. Two, Brandon Brown. You guys are on crack. Okay, he's part of the brain trust right now. I mean, the dude's brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but he's part of the problem right now. He is literally the assistant general manager. Right. So these decisions are still falling on him, sitting behind closed doors. Yes or no? Do we do this? Do we not? What do we do? Like, no, you can't promote Brandon Brown. You know what I mean? No, you need a new, fresh approach because what we have in the building doesn't work now. You guys are insane. What was it? I'm scanning through a bunch of them here. Problem is Mara. Mara is an issue. He's not the problem. He doesn't tackle. He doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't make blocks. He can be in the way at times with an old school mentality. He can make the general manager feel guilty about certain moves and stuff like that. But they gave Daboll and Shane a blank slate. Do what you want to do, and this is what he got for it.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys just look, hate the old man all you want. You could have Jerry Jones and it would be worse. Agnew play with John. I don't want a first-time head coach.
Me neither.
No, he's not. Agnew's not the head coach. He's the guy from Detroit. He's the assistant GM in Detroit.
Right.
Oh, my bad.
That's the guy I mentioned, Ray Agnew, to come in here to be a GM.
Interesting, yeah.
I will say that both of them are wrong, and the reason why I can say that because
it's good to be the king. It's good to be the king.
See, I can say that because they're wrong. We do not need a defensive head coach because we are going to draft a quarterback, and then you don't. Now, if you're the head coach, you're a defensive coordinator, you're like, hey, offensive guy, make this guy good. No, it doesn't work. So that's why they're wrong and I'm right. Because we need an offensive guy. Now, I'm not saying someone said Kingsbury earlier in the week. Like, don't get me wrong. That guy's got a great offensive mind. But I don't know. He was not very good in Arizona. But I do agree with them that we need a second-time head coach, right? There was a big list on Twitter today of the second-time head coaches. How many of them won Super Bowls or went to the AFC, NFC championship? Big, long list of them, right? Big, long list. I don't really have an answer for you. I don't on who would be the next head coach. I do like that assistant general manager at Kansas City. He's got a pretty good track record. But head coach, man,
It's thin. It's very thin out there.
Yeah, I mean, like, we do not want Shiano. I've heard people say that. We do not want Shiano.
No.
You just want a head coach that's done it before, and a guy that maybe will come in here and get some moxie. You know what I mean? Like some guy that people want to play for. I don't know who that is. I just don't. I'm looking through the comments for anyone to throw something that Joe Douglas? No.
Do you guys think it's possible that do you guys think it's possible? I mean, everything's possible that Daboll is the one that goes and Shane is sticks around.
Feels like a package deal.
I mean, anything's possible tomorrow, but listen, if you're going to get rid of get a new GM, a new head coach, and here's what I'll say. I mean, yes, in the past maybe, but this whole you can't hire a defensive guy. I mean, D'Amico Ryan's got C.J. Stroud, Dan Quinn just got Jaden Daniels. So defensive guys can coach offensive. You just got to hire the right offensive coordinator. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. But when you talk about guys who players are going to get behind, like Dan Campbell is a defensive-minded offensive coach. I mean, let's be real. He's talking about biting people's kneecaps off. I don't want any more offensive geniuses. They're soft. We don't need it, and they're not doing well in the league. They're really not. When you look at it, when McDermott was a defensive guy in Buffalo, right? Sean McDermott, defensive guy in Buffalo.
Yeah, but still, majority of the winners are still.
Andy Reid. Andy Reid.
No, Shanahan's done a great job.
Yeah, Shanahan.
But we know what Shanahan's problem is.
His name in Green Bay.
Shanahan doesn't run the ball to keep the lead.
No,
he could have had.
We're just making a point of the success, not the scheme.
He's had success, San Francisco.
I get it. I'm just saying you can find defensive coaches you can have success with.
I don't like Vrabel because I like Vrabel as the player, and I think he did a good job in Tennessee. But Tennessee's never been anything except for okay.
Yeah. You know what, Sean? I want the defensive guy. I'm fine with that. My concern is that whoever the OC is, make sure that system is in place when that OC does well. He's going to maybe get a job because that's the ultimate, that's the best part about having an offense is that OC is going to move on. And hopefully there's a guy in back of him that's going to run that same system and you're not flipping systems again. Because, that's the goal, right? You want the offense to do well and the guy have opportunity for a head coaching job.
Mark, we want to know about what happened to Johnson. Johnson's basically been up and down the practice squad, the active squad, and cut and brought back pretty much every other week. He's literally the last guy, Mark, on the roster, depending on what week it is, if they need to move him or not. Right? Because he's numbers game. Like when they need a kicker, he gets moved. When they need a punter, Johnson moves, right? So he's literally the last man on the roster. Because he's the first one to go when there's an injury, right? You need a kicker, a punter, a whatever it may be, a tackle. So I don't know why they won't run fullbacks. I don't know why they don't do anything. That's why I don't want to think about starting over, but the stubbornness that I see and I feel out of Shane and Dave's worries me. Like I don't feel they're flexible at all, and I don't think they can work with the players that they have. And then you come into the fact that I defended Shane's draft picks, but man, there is some freaking holes, right? I mean, there just is. We love Wan'Dale Robinson, didn't need him there. We drafted Phillips. I love him, didn't need him there. I love Newbin, didn't need him there. It's difficult right now, because I don't want to change because change is bad.
And that's why I think there is a possibility that you have Shane stays and Daboll gets fired. That may be something that Mara is able to deal with. Instead of turning everything over, he gives Shane another shot to get the quarterback and get another coach. So maybe that eases Mara, knowing that not everything is changed over, just half of it.
Yeah. Which is a half-ass way to do it. Same thing when they got rid of Coughlin. They kept Reese. He's just got, or they get new GM, a new head coach, and they keep the same damn quarterback. I just can't half-ass anymore. If you're going to make the change all the way around. No, it's got to stop. Listen, I think we lack veteran leadership. my thought would be that's what they're going to do this offseason is add play, in free agency, add some vet leadership, add some, fix some holes, continue with the draft. Like that's where we're lacking. We're just so damn young. And again, quarterback play just influenced so much. Like we're not having these conversations, right? Like not having these conversations if better quarterback play that won us more games. But for me, the reason why I'm leaning change now is I don't want a soft team anymore. It's been years and years of a soft team. Like I really want a Dan Campbell type. I want a coach that comes in and says, we're going to bite their kneecaps off. We're going to bite their ankles off. Like I want that. That's what I want. So if
the hard thing with that is that Detroit took a gamble on a guy like that, right? Because he was a tight ends coach and stuff like that. Like they gave him this kick-ass opportunity. They took a gamble on him and it worked out. Like,
and he was an interim coach with the Dolphins. Dolphins didn't retain him, so they definitely took a
and he was offensive coordinator with the Lions too. But here's the thing: when you see the teams that are successful now, they're the teams that are physical. Kansas City's a physical team because of Spags. Detroit is a physical team. Even Buffalo's getting more physical. So the teams that are adjusting to that and taking that mindset are having well. That's what I'm more leaning towards.
Like a guy like, again, you also, like you just said, picking guys from teams like Schwartz has always been a really great defensive coordinator. I don't know if he'd make a great head coach, you know what I mean? But he's always on the Eagles was a great defensive coordinator, right? There are some guys, who knew about D'Amico Ryans could pull that off, right? That's why the Patriots went out. That's why Kraft went out and tried it with what do you call it? Mayo, right? Like, sometimes that works, and sometimes that doesn't, right? So it's hard. But yeah, we all want Dan Campbell, but like nobody knew. If you were not a Giants fan, you didn't even know who Dan Campbell was 4 years ago. So I don't know. Like there's guys out there, maybe would make good head coaches, but where are they? Most of these guys going to broadcasting. I mean, like, where's that guy? Like, is there an NCAA college team, or is there a great defensive coordinator that used to be a player right now? Because I don't know any.
Well, the other thing about Vrabel is that you have Ryan Coden here, who was the VP of Director of Player Personnel with Tennessee when Vrabel was there. So you have that working relationship there as well. So you can get some guys in place, which is nice. And then the problem with Vrabel in Tennessee was the general manager kept trading away their talent. They traded away AJ Brown. They traded away Adoree Jackson. Like they kept getting rid of his players, and he still was winning. And that's why he got fired, because he got in conflict with the GM. Because listen, if you're trading away all my players, I'm going to be pissed too. You're going to hear it from me. Like again, the coordinator in Texans, they rallied around him. Like, you want to change the culture? He's gone in and changed the culture every place he's been. Like, he really has. He's got a winning record in Tennessee. He made the playoffs, had playoff victories, right? And again, he was working against his general manager. Like,
what about it? Okay, then here's the question. And how about you want a guy like Campbell, and you want a defensive head coach? What about Antonio Pierce?
No, he's not ready yet. And I love Antonio. I would take him as a D coordinator in a heartbeat, but he's not ready to be a head coach, in my opinion. He's just not ready. I want a proven guy that has won. Mm-hmm. He hasn't won there, right? Great guy, love him. I would take him as a D coordinator in a heartbeat, but he's not ready to be a head coach. I want a guy who's won. Like, that's what I want. Who's won, get his second chance. And to me, like, I said it earlier, I am all on the Mike Vrabel bus. Hop on, join on board. He's the only guy I'm pushing for. Aaron Glenn would be my second choice, because he is respected. That defense, the way they play for him, he plays around, and you bring some of the front office guys from Detroit. Like, that's a team you want to emulate and take their success from. But yeah, Vrabel's my top choice. I'm driving that bus, people.
All right, I'm cool with that. All right, so we do have. I'm going to just announce this. I've done it a couple times. I have 2 Lawrence Taylor bobbleheads. All right. To give away. All I need is if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, is subscribe to the YouTube channel and then send us a screenshot. Send it to us, and we'll put you in the drawing, as I'm going to draw it this week. So if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, subscribe, send us a screenshot. If you're already subscribed, you're out of luck. So, but we do appreciate your support. I don't think there is I'm going to find out. I don't know if these guys are doing a preview show the night before.
They are, yeah. Spartan and Mike are going to do it.
All right, so Truth and Spartan are going to do a preview show, for Thanksgiving. Guys, I saw this thing today about all the captains that have been let go, over the last 2 years. Like, I wouldn't be mad if this team still had Bradbury or Sterling Sharp or Leonard, not Sterling Sharp, Sterling Shepard, or Leonard Williams or Julius Peppers. Like, I wouldn't be mad if any of those guys were still here. I just wouldn't. I liked them. They were here, and there is a little bit a lack of leadership, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and with Thomas hurt and no Jones and no Barkley, I'm not sure how much leadership there is there, guys, so it's a rough spot to be in. So let's do a real quick, and then we'll get out of here, guys. What's your rant, and give me your rave. You each get, let me pull the clock up. You each get 30 seconds to rant and rave. Chris, Sean, I'll start with you, and go.
My rant is going to be, just stop being soft. Start playing physical, play tough. Just that, and I'll combine it into a rave as well. Like, I'm just going to put it all together. I'm just tired. I'm fed up with soft play. Like, I want to see physicality. I want to see guys knock people around. I want to see all offensive people be scared to face this Giants team. Like, hit some people. Just hit some people. Stop being soft. Stop being soft in the media. Stop worrying about friendships. Like, play the damn game. Okay, Chris.
That was good. Go ahead, Chris. You can rant good. You can rant bad, rave good, whatever you want to do.
Oh, one of each or just one? Pick one.
Both.
Oh, both. Okay, so
Blair, on Twitter, NY Giants Rush. Just send me a sub in. If you unsubscribe, I already know. Not you, Blair. I already know who's there. So, but if you're a new sub, and thanks for hanging out, Blair. Sub in, put you in the YouTube channel, and then I'm going to give these puppies away probably on Thanksgiving, Black Friday after Thanksgiving. I have two of them to give away. Zach, the producer, says we should do some trivia, so I might hold one of them, but I'm definitely giving these puppies away. You got it, Blair. Thanks for hanging out with us. Go ahead, Chris. Go.
Yeah. What was Sean's rave? Sean, did you have a rave?
I combined them all together. My rant needed to be longer. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. My rant is like, listen, it's Thanksgiving on Thursday, national TV. You're playing 3 days later. Let's not have the same type of showing as we did on Sunday. Don't embarrass the Giant fan base. Don't embarrass the organization. Go out there. If it's gonna be a loss, just make it a good game and just make it competitive. And that's what I'm looking for on Thursdays. That's my rant. My rave is for the Giant fans. All of us, whether we go to the supermarkets, we're out amongst with family. We've heard the jokes. You're still wearing that hat. You're still wearing that shirt. Why are you wasting your time? Why are you going to games? So my rave is for the Giant fans. All of us here tonight, all of us that show up at the games, all of us that are locked in for 3 hours every Sunday, Monday, Thursday. We are the true blue, all right? We are the true blue. And these players come and go, and we've all said it before, Sean and Craig said it. You root for the uniform, unfortunately. So we're true blue. We haven't changed. Our uniform hasn't changed since we saw our first Giants game. So my rave is for the Giant fans. Keep it going. It'll change. It'll get better.
That was awesome. I love that. My rant is stop talking about a tank. I don't think you guys understand football. Okay. If you go half speed, you get hurt. If you don't play hard for the guy next to you, he gets cut. If you guys don't do well, someone misses an incentive. Coaches get fired. There's like livelihoods on the line. This isn't basketball where you just miss a couple shots and you take a foul. It's a physical game. If I take off and I miss a block on purpose, I may put the quarterback in a hospital. right? Or if I'm not playing 100% hard, I can get hurt. Or even better yet, the guy next, we look like crap because I'm not playing the last 6 games. The guy next to me gets cut. His family doesn't, his family is not getting food for Thanksgiving. So there just isn't tanking in football. Can the coaching staff pull back on the reins? Yeah, it's possible, but there's no tank. And if these players, for any reason, are tanking, not only is it despicable, but it still comes back to no pride. You have no pride in what you do, and you're just a selfish person that you're just out for yourself. That's why we are lost right now in where we are. The rave is hard, right? The rave is hard because there's not a whole lot of great things, out there. So I'm just going to rave about the players that nobody talks about that comes to work every day and they're doing their job. It may be Runyon, it may be Theo Johnson, you know what I mean? It may be Gano coming off the injury report, trying to get healthy. It may be that the kicker, the kick returner. I always forget his name.
Miller.
Thank you. No, not Miller. The guy with the punt returner, the long last name.
Oh, Ishmael. Yeah, right.
Yeah, him.
Right?
Yeah.
There are a lot. There are a lot of guys that just come to work, trying to do a job, stay on an NFL team. They got paid. We haven't heard boo out of Illuminar, but good stuff, right? Or Runyon, good stuff. Isaiah Simmons has lost all his snap counts. You don't hear him complaining. You don't hear him whining. Now, you hear some crap out of neighbors, but, you stick a microphone under his nose, that's going to happen. But there's a lot of guys in this team that do want to win, that come to play every day. So, we may not see it or hear it, but I know they're there. And, it's not an easy game. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Anyway, you guys are wait, let's look at this. This is what we have to put up. Yeah, this is what we have to put up with. I've seen Craig tank on some rushes. No need for this high horse rant.
Jay, I love it, man.
Yeah.
It's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king. Thanks for hanging out with us. Our Giants are in trouble, but I hope they figure this thing out. By the way, what I do want to leave with is there will be some coaches that get fired this year, that could be available for the Giants. There could be some quarterbacks that also get cut this year, like a car. And I don't really quite care if you like them or not. The quarterbacks that will get cut or get moved on from are still a very viable Mariota, very capable guy to groom a Nussmeier, a Ward, a Milrow, and for whoever it is, right? So don't be I hate this guy, I hate that guy. Just look at the body of work. Can this guy help the new rookie, get better? Thanks for hanging out with us. We're Giants Rush. We'll see you here every Monday, 7:30. Bang. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.